Good morning, June 15th, 2023. I guess I'll go get an audio check over here. It is Windows Daily number 238. It is Windows Daily audio? Number 2. Yep, there it is. And here's the chat room. Tim Sal, good morning, everyone. Chris Garrett, second. Chris, first hit like. Chris says, thunder, thunder, thunder again. I feel my chair vibrating. 11 waiting. We should have 11 likes, says Chris. Alice, whoa, that jumped on me. Alice is here. Carl J, hello. Ran Israel, Dennis, raid. He raided with his, he sent his, wait a minute. How did he raid? Oh, he redirected to here. Twitch is a raid. You can't raid my YouTube from Twitch, I don't think. Ran Israel or K300. What was that referring to? I don't know. Greg Guy, fourth. Jesse Pinkman's here. Mike Wojcik, hello. Nick Poverman. What did the grape say when it got stepped on? Nothing. It just let out a little whine. Jim KJ3N. How am I supposed to like a video before it's live? I have no idea if I'm going to like it until I see it. Fair that. Brian Lightfoot. Fresno going to 99 degrees on Saturday. Glad I'm up and cool. Modesto will only be 97. Right to Jim. Debbie down. Oh, no. I'm with Jim on that. Why is this not? Oh, there it is. Jim says, I'll be listening while in the shower, though, so don't talk about me. Okay. I know that you know there's something I want to give you some feedback or thoughts about that speed test on your NAS. Well, there's no hurry on that. Dennis weeklies are complete in Fortnite. Eileen Novak, hello, good to see you again. Speedy C, Selden Ball. So, why are you guys looking down on me like that? You can't even see the top of my head when you're looking down on me like that. Oh, wait, it's not you, it's me. How about if I say that I was in a troubleshooting situation yesterday and I lost my head over it? For those of you who are not watching the video, you have no idea what I'm talking about. Nobody's made a comment on that either. Does this something look different? Eileen says, I thought you grew. Yeah, I grew into what I'm doing, right? Well, some people might have realized it already, but I've tried to not give away the clue, but here's the clue. Boingy, boingy, boingy. I'm on the ball again. So, Doug, why don't you adjust the camera so that we can see the top of your head? Well, I'll do that, but I thought it'd be a little bit fun for you to predict what's going to happen to the little Dougs when I change the camera. Or I could just do this. And again, if you're not watching the video, you have no idea what I'm doing right now. And I'm not going to tell you either. But I could do this through the whole video. Yeah, that's not going to work. What's going to happen when I change the view of the camera? Brian asked if I'm standing. Really? So I guess, Brian, you haven't been around long enough or don't remember. This is what got me here. Oh, why am I not standing? Because I was standing for the longest time. And then I started sitting because I was having some shoulder tightness, tension issues. But then sitting in that chair day after day after day, it cuts off the circulation on the backs of my thighs. So then I go to the ball. So now I'm on the ball. Dennis says, I didn't know about that ball. Yeah, I was on the ball this morning on Fortnite. Now, what do you think is going to happen to the little Dougs? Let me come over here and I'll come away from that scene and back to that scene so you can see Elevator Doug. He's right on the shelf there. He walks out of the elevator onto the shelf, and the elevator brings him down to the desk back here somewhere, and he walks off. But what's going to happen to that Doug and the other Dougs when I change the view? That Doug up there is sitting on top of, what is that box anyway? Oh, that's the power supply box for Big Beast build. So here it goes. Tim says, my neck is starting to hurt from looking sideways. All right, so here, when I change the camera view, what happens to the little Dougs? Let's see. That's That's about the right thing. So then I have to move the middle little Dougs. I'll drag this guy down, put him back on the, let's see, sitting on the top of that glasses frame. Take this Doug up here and drag him back down to the power supply box. And then I have to switch away from this scene and come back to it in order to fix elevator Doug. There you can see, well, I don't think you can see the bottom of the elevator. Oh, the desk is hardly visible. I don't know if he's going to get all the way down there or not. Brian says, are you standing? Got that Jeff Ryman. Hello. Eileen laughs at something. Didn't know the ball from Dennis. Neck starting to hurt. Oh, that wasn't low enough, was it? Okay, he needs to go right down about there. Brian says, maybe you need to get some exercise by playing a few rounds of golf with Ken Stout. I do some stretching exercises and stuff to deal with that, but it's just, that chair just cuts off my circulation too much. John Williams, good morning. Hello to everyone. Smoke-filled air quality is bad. The heart emoji hides part of the bottom lines of text. Yeah. You can, if you pop out chat, you can make it wider, and that helps, because if it's so close to you there, like it hides the word line there on Rand Israel. So that's one way to deal with it. And then if you have chat in here, let's see, change that to live chat. So there's the heart. You can zoom in and zoom out of your YouTube page. I'm doing the, let's see, control minus to go to zoom out, control plus to zoom in. So sometimes that can fix what you want. Or if you're wanting to read what's on the bottom line, you can just type a period into chat, hit enter, and that'll move that last one up a line. All right, now I need to move on to topics at hand. I have an email that I sent to myself where I copied comments from yesterday's chat room to follow up on. I think I'd like to get straight to Alice. We've been working with Alice for a while about her sluggish Sims 4 game. And so we've been through a few different things, but some more has become apparent on that. Yesterday, I pointed out that command timeout on the smart info that looked like it was such a huge number, but she's told us that that doesn't continue to climb. It's not climbing any further. And it was Wintermute that provided more a link for more information on that. So I have that up over here where, oh yeah, here. Right, is that the right one? Super user, yeah. So Wintermute brought that in. And as I suspected, remember that number was so strange, 0021, 0021, 0021. When you convert that to a hexadecimal, it's a huge number in the billions. But though the repeating sequence of numbers was not just by coincidence. The first set, the 0021, is indicating that a timeout occurred 21 hexadecimal times. The second 0021 indicates how many times that timeout lasted over 5 seconds in length. The third 0021 indicates how many times that command timeout exceeded 7.5 seconds. So they're all the same number. Theoretically, then, if one or more of those took less than 5 seconds, those numbers would be different than each other, and it might not raise the alarm in somebody's head like it did for me that this doesn't look right. This is a little bit weird. So coincidentally, those were all over 7.5 seconds, so they all showed the same number. When we did the calculation for 0021, 0021, 0021, and convert that in decimal number, that was like 141 billion, not like 141 billion. It was 141 billion, but that was totally misleading because the actual number was 21, which is only 33 in the way that we humans read numbers. So that means only 33 times that time has occurred. Analysis told us that number is not continuing to climb as she continues playing the game. Now, she has turned down the graphics quality so that the game is not freezing at all, or maybe not very much. So I'd be interested to know, if you turn the graphics back up, do you have this number increasing then? And if yes, that might not be due to a bad hard drive. That might be because the computer is overwhelmed with all the stuff you're trying to do with graphics. Alice's graphics card is an Intel 630, I think it was, but that's integrated graphics. It's in the CPU chip. It is the graphics. It's not really a separate adapter card the way we think of an adapter card, but it is the graphics processor. Go over here to, let's see, was there anything more on chat? Alice's. Now, I still am concerned that you do have your data safe, because that's always, data backup is always important, even if your hard drive is working okay. Now, Alice has already told us she's resigned to getting a new computer at some point. She turned down the graphics and the game will run for her. It used to run better than it's running now on the high graphics setting. But it seems to me that just the advances in Windows 10 and the advances in the game, it's just exceeding the capacity of the computer. Any other tweaks that might be able to be done to it, probably not going to be anywhere near as productive as turning down the graphics, reducing the graphics. Is there anything else I wanted to say regarding Alice's situation at this point? I don't think so. Oh, I don't have chat popped out anymore. That's why I can't get back to it. Let's go pop chat out. And I'm going to get back to the rest of those chat comments from yesterday in a little bit. I'm going for the oranges right now. I saw that already, saw that already, saw that already, that already, saw that already. Jim's back. Now you can talk about me. All right. The audio skips in the game also. Is that true when you have the graphics turned down so much? That also makes complete sense, because that's part of the computer's processing. And let's see, I don't think you sent me another screenshot of Task Manager when the audio is skipping or when the video is bad. Yes, when the graphics is low, also the audio skips. I'm kind of thinking that maybe to get to explore this any further, it'd be really useful if we can connect remotely to your computer on a Saturday. Are you willing to come into a Zoom session and be able to have voice communications with us at least? Camera would be nice, but not necessary. And let me connect remotely to the computer and we can explore a little more in depth. Not sure what else we're going to accomplish. Well, we still might accomplish things back and forth on Windows Daily. Not here this Saturday, but can do another Saturday. Okay, great. Well, let's go that route then. Dennis says, breaking Windows 11 updates this week causes Malwarebytes to block Chrome. Oh. And there's another reason why I don't like using third-party antivirus. Now, what do I want to go to next? I'm going to go back to those chat room comments from yesterday. Oh yeah, Nick Poverman, because I didn't get this yesterday. It went over my head. His joke yesterday. I read that by law you must turn your headlights on when it's raining in Sweden. How am I supposed to know when it's raining in Sweden? At that point, I wasn't thinking that he doesn't live there. So by law, you must turn on your headlights. Well, I'm in Fresno. How do I know that it's raining in Sweden? That's the joke behind that. I didn't get it. Did not get it. Long Dog was talking about a machine that he's setting up. He's been talking about that in the chat room for a while about a Windows S computer. He's trying to get it out of Windows S mode. So I've got a lot of content here from Long Dog. I'm going to focus on that now. For I'll probably talk a little bit about Jim's issue at the after I'm done with Long Dog's. But Jim's issue, I kind of want to do like a whole Windows Daily on it, or do it on Saturday. So I need to at least tell you what I'm thinking about that. We'll get to that. We use the Gmail account and Microsoft account. Now, I think that Long Dog knows this, but I'm going to say this just to be sure everyone's aware of it. This is worded a little bit inaccurately here. It says we use the Gmail account instead of a Microsoft account. No, let's change that wording a little bit. We try to use a Gmail email account as a Microsoft account. A Microsoft account is not an email account. You could use an Outlook.com email account or a Hotmail email account as a Microsoft account. But your email address, I don't think there's any email addresses at Microsoft.com unless you're employed by them. So you could use a Gmail account to create a Microsoft. You could use a Gmail email address. I should not use the word account. You could use a Gmail email address as a Microsoft account. You could use a Yahoo email address as a Microsoft account. And if I get really particular, I could take issue with even saying a Gmail account. You can have a Google account. Your Google account the user ID for a Google account could be a yahoo.com email address, or an outlook.com email address, or a hotmail.com email address, or a DougBetts LiveWindowsTraining.com email address. You can use any email address as a Microsoft account. You can use any email address as a Google account. If you have an email address of gmail.com, you could use that as the user ID for your Google account and your Microsoft account. So I wanted to make sure we're on the same page about that. Everything went just fine, even though that there was a code sent to us. I even thought that there was a code sent to his phone to allow this to happen as a verification of the person. If you're using a Gmail email address to create a Microsoft account, then it's going to send a verification email to the Gmail address that you would have to respond to in order to complete the creation of the Microsoft account. They won't take an unverified email address as a Microsoft account. Anyway, the Gmail account does not exist. So I think that the Gmail email address that they use to create the Microsoft account doesn't exist. His client doesn't have access to that. So you're not going to be successful at creating the Microsoft account. When you want to switch out of the S mode, it does it by verifying the email account. Yes, that's a security thing. We want that to be done. Well, guess what? It doesn't work because the email address doesn't exist. Now, I read that with the words email address instead of the word account. This is partially due to the owner of the machine. He's really sick and very confused. It's hard to work with him. I'm going to skip over the other comments here and continue with Long Dog. And I do know about this link from Nick Poverman. We're going to get to that. Doug, again, we're getting back to the mission. Oh, that's talking about Alice's issue. Did anybody ever get, in fact, I should respond to that. It says, generally speaking, doesn't have the specifications to run the game smoothly. I disagree with that comment, and I don't like you making that comment, to be honest. It kind of feels, from Alice's side, if I were Alice, I'd feel like you're hammering on me. It was a decent computer when she bought it. It wasn't a gaming computer because it doesn't have a dedicated gaming graphics adapter, but it used to run the game fine. So it had this, and it meets the minimum specification too. I think it even meets the recommended, except not the optional recommended. But anyway, I don't like hammering on people saying your computer's not good enough. Just a little bit unfriendly. Don't like it. Please don't do that. Then, Lawn Dog, did anybody ever get the processor from them? Yeah, that was answered, and Alice answers the graphics. And she says it's a graphics card. It's not actually a separate graphics card. It's the graphics capability built into the CPU. And we didn't look to see on system information or just over here. If you have integrated graphics, when you go to system, Alice, maybe you could do this now. Right in here for memory. See, I have 256 gigabytes. Yeah, that's overkill. And 256 gigabytes usable. If you have integrated graphics and if it's properly configured in BIOS settings, this should be a lower number usable because part of your RAM memory should be used as graphics memory. So Alice, can you tell us in chat when we come into here, it was right click on the Windows button and then system. That's how you get into here. Tell us installed RAM. We already know it's 8 gigabytes of RAM, but this number here should be lower than 8 gigabytes. We want it to see it lower than 8 gigabytes usable because that tells us your BIOS settings are set to save part of your memory for graphics use. Oystein. Let's see, that's on a separate topic. Continue with Lawn Dog. No, Doug Smart. No, Doug. Smart was very limited this information. I'm sure you know the history of what Smart was enacted. Actually, no, I don't know the history. Please don't assume that I know the history of everything computers. Kerry Holzman pays attention to that. Mike Smith pays attention to all that high-level news stuff. I don't. I just work with what I need to do to get the computers to work. Put in hard drives. Okay, so now I'm going to another. Lawn Dog sent me a couple of emails and he made a comment on one of my videos that deals more with this Windows 11 S mode. So it turns out this email was actually copied from a comment that he put on the video. I'm not going to read through it. Here's this part up here in the subject matter of this email, and then I'm going to scroll down here. So if anybody wants to read through this, you could go back and pause the video and read through that, but I'm going to respond to it because he's talking here about the Windows S mode, and he makes reference to this video here. This should have been part of the email I sent to make it easier if you want to see my comment in that video. So when I actually go to this video, he took me to a timestamp portion here at 1763. I don't know if there's any, I couldn't understand any significance to making me go to that piece, but he's got his comment is in here. And it's the same thing that he sent by email. Now, it's all about trying to get this computer out of S mode. The video that he's looking at here was not a good video to be using as how to do that. I have taken 2 or 3 computers out of S mode. My recollection was it wasn't very difficult to do, but in that video, I was exploring S mode, not just trying to get out of it. Now that was like, I don't know, 2-hour-long movie, 1 hour 54 minute long. I have not watched through that. This says it was 2 years ago, but I'm sure it was longer than that. I don't know when that, there's a date there, January 9th, 2021. All right, 2.5 years ago. Feels like it was longer. Now, so let's get back to that link who was it, Nick? Put that link in for, yeah. This was a surprise to me. When I went to this was a total surprise to me. This video, I'm going to go ahead and unmute
enabled, making it so you can't install any software outside of the Microsoft Store. And unfortunately, Microsoft requires you to have a Microsoft account to disable it. Luckily, There's an easy way to do it without a Microsoft account. Just reboot your computer and enter the UEFI BIOS. In the BIOS, disable Secure Boot and reboot your system. Once you get back into Windows, verify that S mode has in fact been disabled.
Okay, so it says turn off safe boot, start the computer up, it automatically exits S mode. I'd want to prove that. I Cyber CPU, I don't know his name, but I've seen his content before. I feel he's a reliable source. But wow, that seems strange. Turn off safe boot, and that's enough to get it out of S mode without going to the Microsoft Store. That's just way too simple, and so simple that it seems like a security risk. The reason why somebody would have an S mode computer is to prevent users that might be on it from adding things to it. If they could just restart the computer and exit safe boot, isn't that a security risk? Well, then I realized, well, you could just put a password on the BIOS setup screen, and that's how you prevent somebody from doing that. Of course, if you're trying to set up a computer that you want to be secure, you need to know what you're doing and realize that you need to go put in that password. If you even realize, even if you knew, like I did not know, that that is a way to get a computer out of S mode. So I didn't know that. Then other comments about this is I haven't checked on this yet, but are some computers manufactured for S mode only and they cannot do anything other than S mode? Now, that doesn't sound like it's Londog, the trouble that Londog is having. It sounds like the trouble Londog is having, based upon that long thing, is that he's not being able to create the Microsoft account. And my suggestion there is, hey, just go create on another computer, go create a throwaway email address like fake address longdog@hotmail.com or throwaway longdog@hotmail.com, throwaway email address, or which is some strange, weird, bizarre name. Don't use your own account for somebody else's computer. If they don't have a valid email account that you can create a Microsoft account with, then just make up a fake name. Make sure you document the credentials. Put it on a Post-it note on the side of the computer. If that's the type of person you're dealing with, it's not a high security environment, and they're never going to be using that email address, create a Microsoft account and get it validated. You can do that without associating your computer with that account, and then go to the Microsoft Store. So create a throwaway email address, create a Microsoft account with it, and then on the subject computer, go to the store, sign in with those credentials to the store, and take it out of S mode if turning off Secure Boot doesn't do it for you. So those are my thoughts, Londog. Let's see. Alice says there's no number. It just says 8 gigabytes. Well, maybe then that you need to go into BIOS setup, and there's a setting in there to allow the graphics to use RAM memory. If it's not set that way now, which it looks like it's not set that way now, that could make a huge difference. Rick Lakes, that doesn't sound right to me with S mode. Yeah, I think he's referring to the Secure Boot. I need somebody to test it. I was wondering, am I willing to buy an S mode computer just to test that? Here is longer video to take a computer out of S mode. Is that some other techniques? All right. Yeah, so see, this is a more reasonable video for how to take a computer out of S mode. My 2-hour long video, it was not about that. At the beginning of this video, I actually announced that I'll do a separate video for taking it out of S mode, but apparently I never did that. And at the end of this video, it looks like I do take it out of S mode. I don't remember the content of that video, although the little bit that I watched it, I do remember the computer that was involved. I bought computer for a client who needed a laptop for somebody to do scanning of documents from their home. They weren't a direct employee of the company. And I accidentally bought a computer that was S mode. Okay, looking for the oranges. I read a dozen ways which one works. I would suspect there could be a dozen ways to take a computer out of S mode. Yeah, where are we at? Oh, there's no show for Ken Stout. There is a show for Carrie Holzman, so I have a redirect set to Carrie's show. I used a 60-second shorts video. Also, yes, he did. Now let's see where I want to go back to now. Some of the other comments that I skipped over from yesterday's chat. Yeah, Wintermute actually explained that thing about the timeout command. Raw number is actually 3 different numbers. Timeout occurred, timeout over 5 seconds, timeout over 7.5 seconds. So I think it's 3 zeros, 2 ones. And that all is 33. Is that what the number came out to? 33? Yeah, 33. So the 2 in this position means you get two sets of 16s. Yeah, 2 sets of 16. So that's 32 plus 1 is 33. The second digit is like our 10-base numbering system. Did I just change that? Yeah. Our 10-base numbers say that the second digit from the right is tens. Well, here the second digit from the right is 16s, since it's this hexadecimal numbering system. So 2 16s is 32, and in the ones column, it's 1, 2, 3, 1, no, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, all the way up to F, which is 15, or 6, yeah, well, 16. Anyway, so that calculates to 33. Let's see, that was the format for that. And then here's a link to the 5 smart, Backblaze. I mentioned this a couple times, saying that somebody provided a link that showed the different values that they were watching in the smart driving. Yes, it is the Backblaze is what I was referring to. Each day, Backblaze records the smart stats that are reported by the 67,814 hard drives we have spinning. And so these are the categories that they're concerned in. They're all the ones that were what I was talking about yesterday that sound like troublesome things. And they're the ones that were shown in yellow. There are operational computers for the Smart 5 thing, which was this one, reallocated sectors. 1.1% of the drives that were operational had that flag as non-zero, and the failed hard drives, 42% of them had that. And then this one was 0.5%, 43. This one, 4.8% of the operating drives. They let their drives continue running until they fail. And it's really useful because they're gathering these statistics. So which one of these is the most predictive of a failure? It's this 188 because it's 4.8. All these others are less than 1, except this one is 1.1. So Smart 188 is command timeout. That's the one that Alice has the number 21 or 33 instances of that. Now, if she turns the graphics back up to the high value and plays the game maybe a few times and has some of those freezes, has some of those problems, does that number increase? If it does, then we've got a correlation there. If it does not, then that might have been at 0021 for a long, long time, and it's not an active problem. Am I saying that right about the predictive? See, all these numbers of the failed drives, it's such similar numbers of the failed drives had these numbers, but we don't know if those are the same drives. Did a failed drive actually have all of these, or maybe only one of them? Yeah, I don't know. But anyway, Alice, please have backups. Don't trust that drive too much. S mode. Here's a longer video. For the next live stream, please stop the reactions. For the next live stream, please stop the reactions. I can stop it now. I can stop reactions now. Here, I'll go. So I guess you're finding reactions a nuisance. I'll go turn those off right now. I don't have to do that for the next live stream, and I know how to turn off reactions. So you come over here into edit and customization, and right here, remove that check mark, and that stops live reactions right now. Done. Again, that's the way I'm reading it, your request. You don't like the live reactions. Okay, glancing over things, I'm not seeing other thing with emojis. My whole PC is running on hopes and dreams from Nova. There's an emoji from Eileen. Let's see. Rand popped out the chat, so he found that to be useful for the live reactions. I don't care one way or the other about the live reactions. Okay, then I've still got Jim's issue on my mind. Gonna get to that. Let's come back and see. Is there other things in yesterday's chat I want to respond to? 5 smart values. That was 2 people gave me the back blaze, I think. I think it originally came from, yeah, it originally came from Oystein. Okay, so Jim's video, let's see, I've got it up here somewhere. There it is. Yeah, I enjoyed your humor, your humorous approach to this subject, Jim. I'll put in the link into chat. Jim's, whoops, Nims. Jim's video, for those who haven't seen it. And but the thing that I'm intrigued about is he showed speed test over his network from his NAS, speed testing the drive, and he showed some of the math involved in converting bits to bytes and stuff. But what he didn't mention there, and I don't know if he's been involved in it very much, is network packets. That speed test is performed with many network packets that go through the network, and those packets have headers and footers that accommodate all the information of the 7-layer, the OSI 7-layer model. So I think it's each of those layers has a header and a footer. So there's more sent with each packet than the data that is being utilized in the speed test. Now, what I'm interested in doing is I could do a speed test of Baby Beast drive from Big Beast and have Wireshark open and a filter set so that we only see the packets that are sent between those computers and see how much of that is the data packets. Now, when computers communicate over the internet, the other side of the internet can respond with identifying how large of a packet they want you to be sending. So they can instruct your computer to send smaller packets, more packets and smaller, or they can say make them bigger. So I'm curious to know with Crystal Disk Mark, is there a communication between the computer running the test and the computer that has the drive? Is there a communication that changes the size of those packets? Now, the network traffic going with a gigabit network, 1024 bits, you divide that by 8 to get the number of bytes, and you're getting down into, what is it, 133 or something like that bytes. So your network speed can be limiting, could be a bottleneck for that speed test. I'm also interested when the speed test is operating on the read side of the speed test for Crystal Disk Mark. Is the data sent differently or different size packets? Because the more data you send in each packet, the better the test is going to be. When the write test is happening, when the packet arrives at the destination, is there extra time involved for that computer to write the data? Because that's actually a second step. The data gets from the sending computer to the subject computer that has the drive, and then writes that data to the drive. Whereas when you're doing Crystal Disk Mark on one computer, the data is going straight between the drive and the CPU and in memory. So that's all just kind of interesting. So the thing I'm intrigued about would be to watch Wireshark during a speed test and see what's happening, what's actually getting passed in those data packets. And that then made me think about, well, okay, how about watching Crystal Disk Mark in Process Monitor to see the CPU switching between different processes. Some of those processes are for the speed test. Other processes are for other things the computer is doing. So for instance, if your computer was doing something that is very processor intensive, but only between processor and RAM, not using the hard drive, does that give you a bottleneck for Crystal Disk Mark speed test? Now, somebody's got to sit on the other side and says, Doug, does all that really matter? Do we care about any of that? Well, Doug, I'm curious. So that was what I wanted to respond to Jim, see what he thinks about that. Let's see. Let's just get up. Where is they at? Zvi says, thank you, thank you, thank you. So he liked me turning that off. All right, well, I'll leave it off until somebody asks me to turn them on. Then maybe I'll turn them on for a little while, but I don't see much point in them. I understand the fluff that it's supposed to be, but yeah. I'd far rather somebody type a message into chat that's complimentary. And we saw that those live reactions don't show up in the replay. So it's only there for the benefit of the people who are participating in the chat room. So what? Not exciting. You should never trust a consumer level hard disk drive that's over 5 years old. Just my opinion. Well, what does trust? I'd say, what does trust mean? You should never trust any hard drive. You should never trust any SSD. You should never trust any M.2. You should never trust any NVMe. They all have to be backed up. As long as they're backed up, I have no problems whatsoever continuing with a very old hard drive. I've seen them last long time. Ran Israel also says much better, so he likes that I turned off live reactions. You found my live reactions switch, by the way, but I still can't see it on my own streams. Well, I'm not sure what you mean by your live reactions switch. YouTube has rolled that out. As I understand it, my deduction is some people, when they're watching YouTube videos, have live reactions available if the content creator has them enabled. But if the content creator has them enabled and YouTube hasn't given you that functionality, then you don't see, I don't think you see them at all. I don't think it's just that you don't have the heart to be able to do them. You don't have the icon to do them. I don't think you see them at all. And then on the other side, a YouTube content creator, when they're watching other people's videos, might have that enabled by YouTube that they can see them and they can issue them, but you can't turn them on and off as a user of YouTube. And it doesn't matter whether the content creator has enabled them or not. If it's not enabled for you as a viewer, then you're not going to see them. And a person's YouTube account might have live reactions available on their mobile devices, but then not their computer, or might have them available on their computer, but not their mobile device. YouTube's in control. You have no authority over what you consume on YouTube. As a content creator, you have some authority. You can turn them on or off if you've been given that feature. Very large YouTube channels might not have that feature available to them. Very small YouTube channels might have that feature available to them, and vice versa on all of those levels. As far as I can tell, there's no rhyme or reason as to who has that available to them and who does not. John Williams, my sister-in-law had an all-in-one. She tried to play games on it, but constantly failed or frozen, so I installed 16 gigabytes of memory and 500 gigabyte SSD. That took care of it. So that fixed a lot of the issues there. Yes, if Alice upgrades her memory on this computer and upgrades to a SSD, and goes into BIOS and turns on memory, video RAM, whatever it's called, all of those could make this computer much better. However, it's only going to be 2 years and a few months before she has to go Windows 11. Rather than spending the money on an SSD and RAM memory, I think it's a really good idea to look at buying a gaming computer. And you can search for all-in-one gaming computers if you want all-in-one. But don't get another one that has the graphics integrated to the CPU if you're wanting to play games. You really need a dedicated graphics adapter. That page posted about live reactions said this also. Note, reactions are currently only available on the YouTube app, iPhones and iPads. That used to be the case. That's no longer the case, because I'm showing it's available on the browser. They first started with only mobile. That page posted about live reactions. What page are you talking about? That's probably an old post. Ran Israel, that's true, about 10% overhead. Rick Lair, the OSI, Rick Lair? Did I call him Rick Lair? OSI layer, I still have issues remembering everything on the OSI model. I don't need to remember everything, so I've never really put a lot of effort into memorizing it. I don't need to know it. I understand conceptually. I'm not going to read through all those now. I will read through them after I end the video. A heart from Tony. See there, Tony's showing us you can do a heart in the chat, and that sticks. That is viewable on replay. That's much better. I'm talking about the switch in my own stream setup. Let's see. DDT. Did I misunderstand? I'm sorry. I apologize, Dennis. I keep misunderstanding what you say. I found my live reaction switch, by the way, but I still can't see it in my own streams. Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, well, that fits with what I said. As a streamer, you can turn on or off, but as a consumer, he can't see them on videos he's watching. That seems totally stupid on YouTube's part. Wait, what? YouTube did something stupid? Say it isn't so. Unlike Carrie, I have seen SSD failures. Yeah, well, make me part of that crew. I've shown this a few times. This is an SSD failure. Yes, they do happen. And I thought Carrie did have an SSD failure once upon a time. I only see live reactions on mobile. Alice, thanks for the tip. You're welcome. Absolutely. Doug, this was the page posted in chat earlier. It's unimportant, but that's where I got my comment from. Yeah, thank you. Let's see how old is this? Because sometimes it's hard to figure out how old they are. This is on support.google.com. Live chat is turned on by default unless your channel's live stream audience is set as made for kids, right? And Dennis didn't she? No, somebody else said their stream was set for kids. I don't remember who was saying that. When your live stream ends, it will be archived and viewers can watch the live stream along with the live chat. Live chat. Oh, this is live chat. That's not live reactions. Here's reactions. Reactions on live allow viewers to respond in the moment to what's happening throughout a live stream. Viewers can leave reactions when live chat is open. Reactions are currently only available on YouTube app, iPhones, and iPads. That's just not true. I've shown you, I'm watching YouTube on my browser. That's not a YouTube app. This is obsolete. So it means that they didn't go change this. And looks like there's no date associated with this. Can't believe everything that's posted online, including if it's posted by Google. And this was an answer. This is not YouTube's official posting. This is their response to somebody's question. So where's that question? Live Q&A, live chats. That should give us a date. Send a message to the creator. Where's the original question? Reactions. How to use live. Let's see. YouTube answer is Zippy. Is that from somebody named Zippy? Yeah, this was in Q&A. Somehow in there. How to use live stream chat. I think that's the explanation here, is that this isn't their actual, this isn't their posting. This is a response. And you can't really tell that in here. Live chat views, badge emojis, reactions. It's kind of long. Feedback about this article. Live chat turned on. That just takes us back to the top. Feedback about this article. Was this helpful? Well, it's just flat out wrong, I think. Here's, by the way, Windows 10 Home Pro is now officially end of life. Windows 10 Home Pro 21H2 is now officially end of life. Yeah, that seems sensible. Version 21, yeah, June 13th, as of a couple days ago. 21H2, end of life. So any computer that's using that should have been forced up to 22H2 by now. And I've also seen people post that Windows 10 will not get any more feature updates. Well, duh, yeah, that's old news. Okay, I'm out of here. There's an email address if you want to send a question for me to respond to during a Windows Daily episode. Tomorrow is Friday, and on Fridays, I always do a redirect to guess who? Gary Oldsman's show, and he's got another show today. I'm redirecting to his show. So I'm going to end the stream in XSplit, which gives you a little bit longer to continue in the chat room before it sends you to his stream. But if you're active in chat, or if you pause the video, or if you go back in DVR mode, it appears it will not send you to his stream until you actually click up there in the upper right corner. Look at me using my left hand to demonstrate the upper right corner. That's the right thing to do. All right. Have a great day, everybody. Goodbye. Oh,